A very warm welcome to IDFC First Bank presents Leaders of Tomorrow Season 14, co-powered by Star Health Insurance. I'm Ritwika Gupta. Today, every business wants to use AI, but the real question is, does everyone have the data to make it work? That's exactly what we are unpacking today. To decode what AI really means for MSMEs and where the biggest opportunities lie over the next few years, I'm joined by Vijayanta Rai, Managing Director, India, Snowflake. Vijayant, welcome to Leaders of Tomorrow. It's a pleasure to be chatting with you today.
Likewise, Ritwika. Wonderful to have you here and look forward to the conversation.
Absolutely. So, Vijayant, I've been reading articles, reports, the kind of entrepreneurs that I speak to on my show. It seems like every business is using AI, doing AI. But I want to know from your perspective, where do you think Indian businesses are placed on the AI adoption journey?
So, Ritwika, honestly, we've moved along pretty well. You look at the global adoption, especially when you look at generative AI and how that's evolved so quickly in the past 2-3 years, India has done well. So we work with pretty much all the segments you can think of in the market, the enterprise, the digital natives, the mid-market, SMBs, all of that. And we see adoption right across. Right. So very clearly, India is moving on nicely. I think Indian companies have also moved from a stage where it was why AI to, how can they take advantage of AI? How can they get tangible business outcomes from AI? So we're seeing that happen. We're seeing it within our customer base. We are a sort of an AI data cloud. So we actually get signals from the platform as well in terms of usage of AI. And we're seeing very strong adoption across different customer segments as well. In fact, we did a survey, a global survey with about 2,000 customers recently, a large number of them from India as well. And the interesting fact was, India is in the top 3 countries in terms of Gen AI adoption, along with USA and Germany, which is pretty interesting. The other piece is we are slightly ahead in terms of what Indian customers are seeing as tangible value. So the folks who are surveyed there actually mentioned that they're getting tangible benefits out of AI, 71% of those, compared to a global average of 61. So India clearly is tracking along fairly nicely from an adoption perspective.
Our show is watched by a lot of small business owners, MSMEs. So we hear terms like Gen AI, Agentic AI, but for an entrepreneur who's running a business, a small business, why should he or she care? How does it impact his or her business?
I think it's a huge moment, especially for small businesses or entrepreneurs there. It gives them that technology which typically would have been only with enterprises. So with Gen AI, it's sort of a democratization of technology. They have now such power in their hands, which they can utilize for different things for their businesses, growing their businesses. So in my mind, this is a pivotal moment for Indian MSMEs and entrepreneurs especially take advantage of. Now we are already seeing that with digital native startups and all. They're using AI at scale, mainly because they're born in the cloud. But even otherwise, if you look at manufacturing, retail, different segments there, this is a massive opportunity to sort of leapfrog, from where you are to go to the next level with something like this. Because Gen AI just makes everything very easy.
Yeah.
The friction of adoption is what typically holds back any technology from sort of getting adopted at scale. And with Gen AI, you and me are already using it, right? On your phones, I'm sure you're using different Gen AI tools to do things, etc. So that same technology is now available with MSMEs to really do something which is disruptive. In my mind, this is the moment where entrepreneurs should be sort of reimagining their own ambitions, saying, what more can I do, both with what is existing in their business and what new can they do. This is that pivotal moment where they can actually reimagine their own businesses, look at what new to do with AI, simply because it's very simple. The adoption part of it, makes it completely friction-free. The other aspect is India as a country, as you know, we have more than 1 billion smartphones.
Yeah.
Right, and a lot of AI services, products are going to be delivered, through that medium. So we are well poised. We're well poised across different sectors, and now it's up to the entrepreneurs to sort of embrace this technology. But of course, they got to think about outcomes first before they get into really what they want to do on the tech side of things.
Sure, and that brings me to my next question, because I think not every entrepreneur knows where to begin. Because when we talk about MSMEs, they don't have massive budgets or like large tech teams like bigger companies. So say somebody's running a retail business, a small retail business, or maybe even a manufacturing business. Where do you think, which is that one area where AI can deliver immediate impact without massive investment?
So, there are the very specific areas where companies can start based on their business, of course. But the best way to go about it, from what we have seen a lot of our customers being successful, especially in the MSME side, and folks who are just starting off the entrepreneurial journeys, is looking at areas, for example, on the customer acquisition piece or customer service. These are areas which are proven in terms of generative AI's impact there. Also, in terms of your internal processes, any repetitive processes which you have, can be very easily automated by generative AI. So we've seen those areas sort of being picked up first, because you can get tangible ROI. You can then move on to the next level in terms of picking up even bigger transformative use cases you want to pick up and sort of move from there. But largely, when you look, we for example, we have customers like WakeFit. You might be aware, a very popular consumer durable brand here. And they're using AI right from the front end. So today, if you walk into one of their stores, say in Mumbai here or any other city in India, the person there on his mobile, can check. You say, I want a red mattress with so-and-so specifications, etc. You can check right then and there. It's integrated right up to their supply chain to figure out, they have it, don't have it, to give you better advice and things like that. So we're seeing the impact of AI right from the front end down to supply chains and inventory management and those sort of areas. So I would think, based on the kind of business, you should be picking probably a big scale opportunity which you want to infuse generative AI, because that's where you'll see the maximum ROI.
Sure. Vijayant, at Snowflake, you're working with businesses across industries, you mentioned. What are the common traits are you seeing among businesses who are embracing AI and who are perhaps not doing so?
So it's interesting. I mean, like I mentioned, we work across the spectrum there, and we're seeing companies which are obviously ahead, and we're seeing those which are catching up in different industry segments. The one sector which obviously is natural to generative AI and AI is the digital natives.
Sure.
And as you know, India has one of the largest startup ecosystems in the world, 120 plus unicorns. A large number of them work with us as well. They're obviously the first adopters. Now, the reason for that is they have talent. They're almost engineering companies, so picking up the best sort of technology to work with, and in the best way, the most efficient way, they do it very well. So we're seeing that impact at a different level. That's almost like anywhere else, better, even better than the global standards in cases of some of the digital natives. So they're right up there. And then you look at the traditional enterprises. Now, they have moved on from a stage where they were experimenting a couple of years ago to now really getting production use cases. And we work with very, very large customers. For example, Indigo Airlines, right? I mean, their whole data estate runs off Snowflake.
Yeah.
And they're now working on a number of AI outcomes for different parts of their businesses there. So traditional enterprises are also embracing this in a big way. Obviously, you get into the regulated sectors, the banks, the telcos, etc. Slightly more difficult, I would say, because they need to go through different sort of security clearances and take care of all of those aspects of PII and all of those things as you get into those sectors. But even there, we're seeing a whole lot of use cases on generative AI now going to production. So across the spectrum, we've moved from that stage where people were experimenting, doing POCs, to now seeing actual outcomes coming out.
Sure. So tell me a little bit about Snowflake. What is your vision behind it? What are you trying to solve with Snowflake? So
Snowflake is essentially an AI data cloud. And what we mean by that is, today what we provide is an opportunity for enterprises, any kind of organization, small, medium enterprises, digital natives, to essentially, this is the destination where you get your data to. Now, the biggest problem, Ritwika, is you have in any company is your data is in silos, so different applications. As companies evolve, they bring in different solutions in, so your data is all fragmented. Simple case of where you want to create, say, a customer 360 is an artist's task, to make it happen in reality. And that's where Snowflake really shines through. So what we do is we break your data silos, get your data into one place. We ensure that that data is trusted, secured, governed. And then once you've done that, you can get outputs for analytics or AI. And AI, again, is as good as the data it works on. So what Snowflake does is actually provide companies with a really solid foundation for AI. Because once you have a trusted foundation, your data is in good shape, your access controls are all proper, chances are that your AI outputs will be really world class. They won't hallucinate, you won't get all those kinds of problems which usually happens with AI. So Snowflake is that destination which takes away the friction from data, brings it into one place, makes it a strategic asset for organizations to then pivot on and get further business outcomes.
Right, and if you could just elaborate on that, because I think while most companies, they feel like artificial intelligence is the answer, perhaps a bigger challenge is getting reliable data. So how important is data really, to a business, if you could just tell our entrepreneurs?
So we would, and we've been saying this for a long time actually, even before the past 6-8 months where we've actually seen an acceleration of AI outputs. But even before that, we've been saying that, without a data strategy, there is no AI strategy. And we're seeing that now becoming a big reality with every customer. Customers who have their data on platforms like Snowflake are in a better position to very quickly move on AI. Because they don't have to worry about the quality of data, the access control, all of the security governance features that's built into the platform. And then again, we have 13,900 customers as per our last financial report for the previous quarter. And again, these are global customers. Some of the biggest customers in banking, finance, telco, you name it, and they're on Snowflake. So what happens is, being a managed platform, we basically get the benefit of all of that to any customer. So today, what benefit a customer, say the biggest bank gets in terms of security, compliance, all of those things, the smallest customer gets the same thing because it's a managed platform. There's also this aspect of cost and efficiencies, right? And we've been talking about MSMEs, which is very important. What we try and do, and we make sure that there is transparency in terms of utilization of today, people talk about tokens a lot, but other compute and storage. So essentially, we try and make the whole platform something which is easy to consume. So customers focus on their business. We manage everything else from infrastructure to whatever. That's all on the platform, including the underlying hyperscaler portions. Everything is managed by Snowflake. If you're a retail customer, you just focus on your business, get your data there, and we also provide all the LLMs or the largest and the best large language models out there. You can think of Anthropic, OpenAI, all of that, Mistral, on the Snowflake cloud. So that based on your use case, you can utilize the model which is most efficient for you.
Right. It's time for a quick break here. We'll be back shortly. Stay tuned.
Presented by IDFC First Bank, always you first. Co-powered by Star Health Insurance.
Welcome back to IDFC First Bank presents Leaders of Tomorrow Season 14, co-powered by Star Health Insurance, in conversation with Vijayanta Rai, Managing Director, India, Snowflake, talking AI, MSMEs, data, and much more. Listen in. Vijayant, where do you see, which areas or which sectors, or where do you see the biggest opportunities coming up for businesses? Do you see absolutely new sectors coming up because of AI, maybe new business opportunities?
Absolutely, and I think for a country like India, this is going to be huge. And simply because when we look at what's happened, say with the digital public goods, the government has set up, maybe the Aadhaars, the UPI stack, all of that are massive scale data and technology interventions, right? So they've created a wonderful foundation to innovate on. And when you look at India and India's opportunities and problems, we are a massive country, 1.4 billion people spread across a massive geography. So the bigger solutions are yet to come, and I'm sure that they're just waiting there. AI will help sort of get there. We talked about smartphones being there, and that penetration already in India as a delivery mechanism of a lot of services and goods and products. That will happen as we look at it. Today we work with a lot of independent software vendors. We have a massive amount of digital natives who are building solutions for India and even for the globe on the Snowflake platform based here. and we believe AI is going to be that, basically it'll put it on steroids in terms of, how you can take it to a larger audience, bigger parts of the country. So we believe solutions for agriculture, education, healthcare, besides the usual enterprise segments we know about, which is, basically BFSI, manufacturing, all of that, we'll see a large amount of use cases coming out of India, simply because AI provides that, like I mentioned, a sort of a friction-free way of adoption and a reach which wasn't there earlier.
Right.
So I think India is all set up nicely. We're growing very well, as you know, 7% GDP growth for the next few years for sure. At that scale, and with the headroom which we have on top to sort of grow, I think AI is going to be that sort of force multiplier for the economy as we go. And already there are figures talking about X amount of billion in terms of impact of AI by 2030 and onwards.
Right. But what we are also hearing about are the job losses caused by AI, and that's from a employee and professional point of view. But even now, entrepreneurs are also kind of confused and worried about hiring the right talent in the age of AI. Do you think the hiring playbook is changing?
Oh, absolutely evolving. I mean, I would say it is changing and it is evolving. It is, there's no way to look at it but that way. And the reason for that is, if you look at talent, right? And talent is so when technology becomes commoditized, the differentiator is going to be the human in the loop. So my personal view is that people, skill sets, domain knowledge is going to be very pivotal, because technology is going to be available to everyone. This AI, which is there for X entrepreneur, is going to be there with the other one as well. It's the person who knows his market better, the person who knows his customer better, the person who has a breakthrough idea will possibly get the most out of AI. So skills are going to be very important. Learning AI is going to be important, but as you and me know, I mean, it's not rocket science. I mean, you don't need to be an engineer today to create a program. All you have to do is know natural language and prompt it the right way, and it'll create. I use a lot of it, as a business person, and it's very easy. And the only reason I use it is because it's easy, and I can sort of frame my thoughts and get things out of it. So clearly, skills are going to be important, but we shouldn't underplay the importance of domain skills. So a banker is going to be as important. Knowing tech, he can do a lot more. Right, wealth management, you will have virtual, RMs coming through as agents and stuff like that, which will again be force multipliers, right? And all of that for the India scale, I think augurs very well. So from a Snowflake perspective, and we do recognize the importance of having the right technology skills as well. And if you look at enterprises, AI also works with a lot of underlying systems. So there is a tech requirement to understand different estates when you get outputs. The moment you get into bigger and more complicated scenarios. So we're working with NASSCOM here, for the Future Skills Mission to skill, more than 100,000 people over the next few years, with METI as well involved in that. We're working with the ICT Academy to train the trainer, and again, it's going to be a continuous effort, just to make sure people, are up to date. Technology is changing much faster than it did earlier, which also means that skill updation needs to happen, especially for the tech folks, need to happen far more often as we go. But generally, I think domain and things like critical thinking, all of those will be at the forefront of utilization of AI, for bigger impact.
Right, but correct me if I'm wrong, but my sense is also that a lot of the companies, they are rushing to embrace AI because everybody is doing it. Tell me, what are the common mistakes or the biggest mistakes company make, when it comes to embracing AI, when it comes to adopting AI? Are they catering to their specific business, or are they just doing it because they just don't want to be left out?
So, obviously we all get enamored with something new and something as transformative as AI, generative AI, for example. And when you have it in your hand, it is fairly easy to sort of get sucked into it, right? And from that point of view, when we look at those companies which have been very successful, a good place to start is business outcomes. So when you know what you're trying to drive and you build everything around it, it usually you're going to get more success out of it, versus just bringing in technology for the sake of excitement. So we've seen those organizations being very successful, where they've defined their outcomes and also then created their technology stack and architecture accordingly. And just to tell you, I mean, today, when, say, for example, when you look at for your organization revenue, means very different from what, say, what we look at as revenue, right? The semantics are different. Revenue for you could be, number of people viewing and, those things. For us, it's consumption, stuff like that. So business context and semantics are absolutely crucial in AI. And what I mean by that is organizations who are able to define their context and semantics usually will be able to do very, very well in AI, or getting the most out of AI. And that's where Snowflake again plays a very important part, because we try and provide all of that on the platform itself for organizations to create. Your data is with Snowflake. We understand your data. It's trusted, secure, governed there. But at the same time, understanding the semantics of different parts of that data is something we help customers do very easily. And then you can get more out of AI. So we've seen organizations which have moved to context and semantics, getting more out of AI.
Vijayant, you have worked with Salesforce, Microsoft. You have seen multiple tech waves as well. This, however, feels a little different, the AI adoption. How do you read this entire wave that's come in? You think this is different from the internet and the smartphones and the cloud that we saw?
Absolutely. I mean, you're right. I mean, I don't want to give away my age, but I've seen a lot of transformations, right? Like you said, the mobile revolution which we saw in India, the internet, then the cloud, and then now AI. But I think the big difference, the fundamental difference is just the speed at which it's evolved. It is unbelievable. Speed, and the second piece is like I mentioned, the way it's getting adopted. So today, I mean, the technology which is available from a consumer segment is available to the enterprise as well. It's all the same. It's taking away a lot of friction in adoption. People, are able to do more with it. But this is fundamentally a very different, transformation which we've seen in the industry. And I think it'll eventually, help take everybody, and even countries like India, to the next level. Simply because you can imagine, right, for our scale and size, and for like we leapfrogged during the mobile revolution, if you remember, from a country which was doing regular phone calls to mobile phones, and now 1 billion plus smartphones out there. We've been jumping transformation or other technology changes which have happened, and I think AI will just take it to the next level.
Fantastic. And finally, as we are wrapping up this very, very interesting conversation, by way of advice, what do you think it will really take for Indian businesses to be at the forefront of the next wave of innovation?
I think a few things. One is, of course, very quickly looking and reimagining, what they can do with AI. How can that, change their existing, businesses, to take advantage of that, become more efficient, more productive, etc. But also reimagining, saying what can you do new with your business? Can you open up new markets? Just as an example, AI today will take away the friction of languages in India. Right? You don't need to know XYZ language to enter, say, a certain state now. So it's going to open up a lot of new things. I'll just encourage everyone to look at that anew with fresh eyes. And the second piece is skilling. It's going to be very important that we stay curious, all of us, because changes are happening faster. Learn as much as we can, and stay abreast with changes which are happening there. Technology will get easier to use, but the differentiation is going to be domain. It's going to be your own skills as you look at it. So my advice would be talent is going to be an important part. The tech side of things, make sure that the foundations are there. Right. And that's where obviously things like data, context, semantics, all of that comes into play. Working on that will set you up for focusing on your business, and then quickly getting more out of AI. But yeah, I think we're poised for a very exciting journey next few years.
Fantastic. Well, it was lovely speaking to you, Vijayant. Thank you so much for your time today.
Likewise, Ritwika. Thanks so much, and lovely chatting with you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And with that, it's a wrap on this edition of IDFC First Bank Presents Leaders of Tomorrow Season 14, co-powered by Star Health Insurance. We hope you enjoyed the episode. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.
Presented by IDFC First Bank, always you first. Co-powered by Star Health Insurance.